Hello and welcome to my channel, Lady Green Thumb Toot. This is the third vlog of the series for this month. It's Sunday, May the 25th, and I'm here at the garden and I needed my cart today, so I'm going to turn you around to go through all that I plan to do today based on what I have in the cart. I had to cart this through this pathway and I had a difficult time with the fig tree there. It's leaning over and we're going to work on straightening that out. It needs to be supported on the T-post that's on the other side of it. But I did end up going to the big box store just yesterday and I got a tomato plant. The reason for this is I did mention this in a prior video that we have one here already. You can see how huge that is, and you'll notice that there's no tomatoes on it. The reason being is that you need more than one to pollinate, one plant to pollinate, and this will be planted then over in this spot, seems to be open. And I also ended up getting a habanero plant. There's actually 2 starts in this one pot. I don't know if that's a bonus, but it's quite large. I might end up planting both together or I might separate it. I'll figure it out as I go. But along with that, I did bring some worm castings that I purchased back in Frisco, Texas. By the way, I'm in Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona, Maricopa County, Zone 9A or B. And a resource that I use tremendously now is someone on YouTube. She has an Instagram, YouTube, and a website, and that's Angela in Growing in the Garden. I'll link her channel in the description box again. I did it for the last vlog if you want to see the history on that. But she is such a wonderful resource. She has lots of videos, so if you want to look up what to do in this area, that would be very beneficial. And then I just took out some pots here because I need to, I soaked some seeds at home and I want to fill this up with a potting mix I have on my potting bench here, soak it up real good, and then just take the pots home and plant those seeds. I have quite a few things that I want to start up again because they were not successful in the garden, such as the okra and the roselle. But I bought my harvesting baskets back, and I did get some mushroom compost here from the big box store for the reason of applying it on this artichoke. This is normal for the artichoke. Leticia, by the way, I'll give some history, was able to chop it down. If you look at any prior videos, you'll see that this was quite unruly once it was past its prime. And this is completely normal that there are new shoots coming up. And what's suggested, which I looked up on ChatGPT, which is another great resource, is to put either mulch or compost down to protect the root system and keep it cool, and you have to still keep watering but not so deeply. And this is perfect situation because I have the drip hose is right over here, and that's, I think, close enough to keep it somewhat moist but not dried up. It's still thriving right now, so that's a good sign. So I'm gonna get started here and chug along to get everything done that I plan to for today. And by the way, the worm castings, I'm going to save a little bit for my patio planters to top dress it. Some highlights before I get started in the actual work here is that I bypassed or forgot to mention that I had ginger that I stuck in the ground. It was organic ginger, and I noticed that all of them are sprouting, and I basically placed them around the eggplant, one in the middle here. I took a picture of this first. You can see a sprout, and then the second one and the third one, which is a little further back behind. But this is very encouraging. It will be so nice to have fresh ginger, and organic, by the way. And then the eggplant has grown tremendously over the past couple of days, in fact. Look at this, almost the length of my hand. The squash here, I can tell the shape of it that's forming. I got a close-up picture over here, and it's the honey nut winter squash that I got from a grocery store, so hopefully it's true to type. We'll see what happens, and it's edible. But I also noticed that the flowers, these are zinnias, look at the multicolors here. It's so beautiful, pink to orange to another pink at the end there. So they just opened up, at least 2 or 3 of them did. I've decided where I'm going to put, for sure, the plants or the starts that I got. The tomatillo is definitely going in that spot. I'll amend it a little bit with some potting mix, which is what I have with some mushroom compost and maybe some fertilizer that Leticia has in her bin. And then the habaneros, I think I'm going to attempt to split them, put one here in P2 and another one in this spot between the peanuts. And I'm going to remove this calendula eventually. Maybe the next time I come, I'll harvest the flowers and dry for tea. I actually made calendula tincture, and I'll be sharing that with Leticia if she would like it. So the plan is to, in this area, this onion will come out eventually, but if the okra sprouts, which I'm attempting to try for the 3rd or 4th time again, with gardening, if it fails, you just have to keep trying over and over again. You know, everything needs to be right: temperature, light, moisture, and a couple of other things. So I'm sure I didn't get one of those things right, attempting the other couple of times. Also, while going through the garden very briefly before I'm really getting started again, is I noticed by the sunflowers I had stuck an Asian type of sweet potato, and there's 2 sprouts that have come up, so I might remove those and put it in water to get the roots going, and plant one of those at least, and maybe share the other. But the plan is also at home. I started, I'll show it to you here. I started a different variety of sweet potato, and I got so many sprouts, and I'm going to share it with the gardener in the next enclosure over as well. These are the roots on May 24th on this sweet potato vine. So I'm going to I change out the water every few days with just fresh water, and that's it. So I had to water in the starts because they were pretty dry, but in the holes for the tomatillo and the habanero, I did use, I'll show it here, raised bed mix here. It's the Kellogg's brand, and then I used some mushroom compost as well as the worm castings. You can see the different layers here. Maybe I'll pop a picture. But another thing I noticed is that the golden beetroot is forming, so that's very encouraging. I might harvest this one because it's this cylindra and it's sticking out of the ground, maybe in a few days. And then talking about these squashes, which I mentioned that hopefully the seeds are true to type. It looks like they're not, because this one on this end is round and the one on the other end of P5 is a different shape. So we have a rogue squash growing here. That's a good example of saving seed from even the store. You really don't know what you're going to get. So hopefully these are not, these are edible, but I'm sure Leticia will view this video and be aware of this. This is a very entangled into the pot. You can tell the shape that it is in is that of the pot, and I'll pry this free like this just so that the roots are not tangled once and they have room to spread once they're in the ground. But this is really not what you should be getting from a store, but because we have no other choice, I wanted to get it in the ground, and that's why I'm giving these amendments to give it a very good start. Same with the habanero, it is root bound, and I will be splitting this up, and I'll cross my fingers that it takes. I did water in the tomatillo plant as soon as I was able to get it in the ground, and I'll do the same for the habanero. So another idea of exposing the roots and seeing where you're cutting to separate two from a pot, not recommended, but this is another trick, is to wet it or have a bucket and soak it in there to get all the excess soil or dirt off, and then you can definitely see how tangled up it is and work from there. Oh my goodness, that was tedious. That is detangling. It was almost like detangling long hair, which I have lots of practice, but I was able to hopefully successfully get the taproot with all the roots. Well, the taproot, you can tell that the thickness there at the bottom, the white part, and I think this will take, but I wouldn't recommend this for a novice gardener. I just filled up these pots here, the two from the starts that I got from the big box store, and then 4 other ones to take home, and I'm just getting them ready and moist so that I can just plug the seeds that I soaked overnight right into the soil. So while I keep gardening, this will be ready to go home, and I'll drain the excess water out from the bin before I take it home. So I'm here at P1 and applying the worm compost for the worm castings, and I noticed that there's 2 Malabar spinach here now. This one sprouted, so it was just waiting to be sprouting at the right temperature. And then I dug around, as I said, one of the tomatoes in my prior vlog to see how far along it is, and I think I just bruised one. You can see that's a pretty good size right there. I might wait maybe for about a week and pull these out. So there's 3 of them. It's noon, and I just discovered a little snack that I can have right here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick it. Let's see, I'm going to taste it. That was so good. Tiny but very good. I'm wrapping up now. I just watered in all the rows. I'm not going to go through the rows today because it's already been a few hours that I've been here and I'm pretty tired, but I'll go through what I did instead. And a tip so that I remember myself is by accidentally one day I use the hose here quite a bit, and I find it so difficult to put it back on its holder here, or way back there, that hose over there. It is also difficult to get it to roll up and be in a nice rolled up state. And I found that one day I left the hose on full blast. I did get sprayed a little bit trying to roll it up, but it was so much easier. So I'll begin here. I did put, as I said, the worm castings everywhere, and I did ruffle the ground where I could. Did remove quite a few weeds throughout the garden. I did get to Leticia's side, but there's still some work to do. And the habanero plant doesn't look too hot right now, and I'm hoping this was a bigger one that I transplanted, and it's flopped over. Definitely not the right time to be planting anything in the heat. The shade cloth helps, but It would have been better if it was an overcast day. The smaller one seems to look a lot better, which is encouraging. At least I have one that will most likely survive. This is all what I got from the garden today. Zucchini, 3 beans, and then cherry tomatoes, regular tomatoes. 2 of them have split. An onion, calendula. I will have to wash that real good, and I'm going to dry it or have it in tea today. French tarragon, also for tea, and basil, most likely for tea. I had to top the basil because they were going to seed. It just made sense to do so I could create more branching and allow the plant to keep going and producing. And then the 2 vines of the sweet potato from the garden, I took off the lower branches or leaves, and it'll root just like this without the potato. But I just leave it in here, and I can tell the difference because the stems for the one from the garden are green and the ones from this red potato are red.